Welcome to the BioPharma Business Intelligence Unit, where symbolic integrity meets strategic clarity. At BBIU, we go beyond the headlines to decode the structural forces behind global biopharma, AI, and economic realignment. If you value precision, verification, and symbolic depth, this channel is for you. Subscribe now to access our weekly briefings, dossiers, and intelligence reports, and consider joining our institutional tier to unlock early warning systems, custom metrics, and exclusive strategic insight. You're not just listening, you're entering the future of epistemic intelligence. www.BioPharma Business Intelligence Unit.com.
Restoring hearing through Otoferlin gene therapy. Structural implications of DB-OTO trial. Executive summary. The recent publication in the New England Journal of Medicine, NEJM 2024, documents a first-in-human gene therapy targeting otoferlin deficiency, a monogenic cause of congenital deafness. The trial DB-OTO administered a dual-AAV vector directly into the cochlea of children aged under 7 years with profound congenital hearing loss. Results showed meaningful auditory recovery in several patients, including responsiveness to spoken words and environmental sounds within weeks. This development represents not only a milestone in auditory medicine, but also a test case for ultra-rare sensory restoration gene therapies. Structural implications extend across regulatory, ethical, and industrial layers, shaping the trajectory of neuro-sensory biopharma. BBIU opinion, DB-OTO and the transparency gap. The NEJM publication on DB-OTO presents a milestone for auditory gene therapy, but its framing reveals a problematic imbalance between clinical protocol structure and narrative emphasis. The study is officially a Phase 1 TAF trial, NCT 057536, with a primary endpoint centered on safety and tolerability through week 48. Yet, the article highlights efficacy signals, auditory recovery in a handful of children, as if they were the trial's central goal. This creates a transparency gap. The full protocol, as registered, specifies 2 dosing regimens, unilateral versus bilateral administration, and a projected enrollment of 40 participants across 15 global sites. None of these structural details were emphasized in the NEJM piece. The published narrative risks misleading the reader into assuming hearing restoration is the study's primary endpoint, when in fact it is a secondary, exploratory outcome. With only 12 individuals treated, the absence of major adverse events cannot be equated with established safety. Rare or delayed complications cannot be excluded in such a small cohort. From an industrial, and symbolic perspective, DB-OTO is groundbreaking. The dual-AAV design demonstrates that oversized genes such as otoferlin can be split, delivered, and recombined within sensory cells, opening the door to a new era of genetic engineering inside the body. However, this innovation does not exempt the program from the epistemic discipline of clinical development. Efficacy remains secondary until safety is established across the full planned enrollment and longer follow-up horizons. Our position is clear. Scientific achievement is real. DB-OTO proves that sensory restoration via gene therapy is no longer theoretical. Narrative integrity is compromised. The NEJM framing prioritizes efficacy stories over the actual structure of the protocol. Regulatory path remains long, with Phase 1 TAF still ongoing. Only after durability of safety is demonstrated and efficacy is confirmed in pivotal trials can DB-OTO be considered a validated therapy. BBIU therefore concludes that the DB-OTO case is not only a test of biotechnology, but also a test of epistemic transparency. The field must resist the temptation to amplify secondary outcomes at the expense of primary endpoints. Otherwise, the symbolic promise of hearing restoration risks outpacing the structural evidence that must sustain it. Annex 1. Otoferlin, Molecular, Genetic, and Translational Perspectives. Annex 2. Dual-AAV Vectors and the Immunological Paradox in Otoferlin Therapy. You've reached the end of the open section of this BBIU content. The complete analysis, with full data, structural frameworks, and extended annexes, is available exclusively to our subscribers. At BBIU, we believe the real value lies beyond headlines, in the depth of structural intelligence that helps leaders and organizations see further. If you want access to the complete archive and future reports, join us at BBIU and take part in the next level of analysis.